plaintiff, Leotwan Harrison Stanley, says the defendant is her son, and he was a good kid until his teen years, when he started using drugs and running with the wrong crowd. Leotwan is here today to petition the court for rehab for her son. Defendant Lawrence Bender says there was no structure in his home as a child, and he was sexually abused by a family member. So he turned to the streets and is now a drug addict. Lawrence is tired of this lifestyle and says he's ready to turn his life around.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
All right, ma'am, you're here suing your son for $1 for emotional distress. Purpose of which is to have him turn his life around. And as a judge, the only way I can enforce anything, since you have to sue for something he has caused damage to you regarding, and you're saying, so I have to assess it as the emotional distress he has caused you. And if we conclude that that is the case, you'll receive $1. But more importantly, my understanding is you're here so that we can get some help for your son. So give me some background.
Up until about 13 to 15, exceptional, just good in school. He did A's and B's student, no trouble. Played football, just all out, free spirit, very happy, jovial kid. He wanted to go live with his father. We lived in New Jersey. We moved from California to New Jersey.
What part of New Jersey?
South Jersey, Sicklerville.
How far is it from Newark?
About an hour and 10 minutes.
Any other?
Closer to Philly.
It is about 25 minutes east of Philly.
All right.
We're outside of Atlantic City, between Atlantic City and Philly.
All right.
Very small little suburban town.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't crime and drug infested?
I mean, there's crime. There's crime everywhere, but he didn't gravitate to it. His focus was football and school.
I was wondering whether he grew up in a culture of crime.
No.
And because even though he may not have gravitated to it in school, at some point he observed it, and he got that influence from seeing it somewhere.
Yes.
Children are not born to be destructive.
Yes.
They are taught based on what they see or don't see, and based on how they're raised or not raised. And lastly, whether there's a disorder. Behavior is based on two things: environmental conditions and mental disorder.
Yes.
You can be living in a nice suburb, but if you see violence in your household, when you walk to the corner store, you drive to the corner store, you see dope being sold, you see alcoholics standing there, you see gangbangers standing there, and so you're intrigued by it and you get influenced because you're seeing it. That's what I'm trying to get the picture of, what he saw between ages 1 to 15, because it sounds like you're about to tell me he flipped at age 15 to a destructive life. What did he see before flipping? What did he see early in life? Was there some trauma that went down? Did your husband leave the house? I'm educating everyone as I talk to you about it as well. That's what you see, folks. Kids aren't born to be bad. Kids are born to be shaped. All right, so get a little more into the conditions in which he lived his formative years.
Yes. Before we moved to New Jersey and living in California, I was married, and our marriage was very abusive.
And how old was he?
I left when he was 9.
And so he saw and was aware of some of the abuse.
Yes,
that's traumatizing.
Yep.
How often?
Quite often.
Over twice a month?
Probably maybe 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh.
Yeah. Moved to New Jersey. I met my second husband.
He was 9 years old at that time?
He was 10 by then.
Okay.
So
how was life for him? That's when he became a good student.
It was good. I mean,
still don't get that stuff out your mind. That got to be counseled out. Go ahead.
So life was much better. Like I said, around 13, he wanted to go live with, between 13 and 15, I'm going to say about 14, 15, he wanted to go live with his father in California. So me thinking that's his dad, he's entitled to be with his father. I would send them every summer to visit with their father, and they would come back home. But when he came back this summer, he wanted to live with him. So I allowed it. He went with his dad. He did well for a few months, and then that's when the trouble started.
What part of California?
Southern California, yes.
What?
Rialto.
Okay.
Rialto, San Bernardino, forgive me.
Not too far from Los Angeles.
Not too far from Los
Was
Angeles,
that
but
a
San
crime
Bernardino
and drug? Is that crime and drug infested?
Rialto has gotten worse,
There you
but
go.
even back then it was not the best. So and then with his dad, I get a call that he had gotten arrested, and he was going before the court. The judge allowed him to have the probation transferred, and if I recall, it was because he was selling marijuana, is what the charge was. So he left California, came back to New Jersey.
Same thing happened to me, but I was living a destructive life. My mother sent me to live with my father on the other side of town. I had never really known him. I was 13, getting in a lot of trouble. I was carrying a gun, all of that, and went over there to get straightened out. My dad was a hustler. And so when I saw him hustling as a fence, he's passed now, and I don't want to talk about the dead, but he was a hustler, put it that way. I started hustling too. And guess who it was with? The street gang that he was hustling with. So I became a street gang member that he was hustling with. And that lasted about 3 weeks, and my mother found out and came and took me home, and I never seen him again in my life. He observed it,
Yes.
and he got that influence from seeing it somewhere.
Yes.
Children are not born to be destructive. They are taught based on what they see or don't see, and based on how they're raised or not raised, and lastly, whether there's a disorder.
Plaintiff Leah Twan Harrison Stanley is here to get help for her son, who admits he's a drug addict and has been abusing meth for 7 years.
My conception was, he don't care about me. Mama whoops my butt and tells me what to do and orders me around and makes sure I do this and that every day. He don't care what I do. In fact, he don't mind me hooking up with the gang boys. He know what we doing, and he ain't saying nothing. Okay, Dad, I got a TV set. You want to buy it? Sure, son. Here's $50. Go buy you some weed. No, he didn't say go buy weed, but give me $50. I'm going to buy some weed and liquor with my friends, my fellow gang boys. So I say that to say he probably felt that. He really wanted to go over there for the freedom because Mama ran a tight ship.
Yep.
So I'll go to California, and while I'm here, I'm observing. So, okay, that's what this is. We're going to let him talk shortly, but then you say he got in trouble.
What do you get from that? Like, if you're in juvenile detention center, you're learning worse traits than what you came in there
Slicker
with.
and sicker is what they call it.
Absolutely. So, like I said, the judge called me. We did the video call on the phone and everything, and they said they would allow the probation to be transferred back to New Jersey because he did better in New Jersey than he did in California. So they sent him back to New Jersey. Probation was there. He had to check in every week and was drug tested. He would fail drug tests with marijuana in his system. So they ordered him into detention center.
How old?
By now he's about 15, because this was over a period of a year.
How long did he stay there?
15 to about, maybe not even quite 16. He was only in for a little while, maybe about 2 or 3 months he was in there. And then they kind of started weeding him out by letting him do home visits on the weekend, and then eventually he was out. Then he got in trouble again. He did a strong arm in school. He held onto a little boy and took his cell phone from him. And then he was ordered back into juvenile detention center.
How long?
He was in there for about a year. While he was in there, he picked
Strong
up
arm robbery?
Yes, he picked up culinary skill. He got a certificate in culinary arts. Was doing well in there. Once he got out, relocated with friends on the street, which were older. His friends were older guys. And the trouble really began. That's when it went from marijuana to dipping marijuana in what's called wet. He would come home high as a
You say what's
kite.
called wet? Like the judge don't know what this is. He's a square, so I better explain.
I'm the square.
That's what that is. Wet as an angel dust.
I believe, yes,
Sherm.
Sherm, yes. Yeah.
He's telling me.
Let me hear from you, young man, and then we'll get back to your mom for some more information. You give me a perspective on your life growing up.
I love my mom. Some things she's not saying. As a child, from 5 to 10, I was also molested by my cousin. So my dad, he was on us about doing our homework. He was on us about cleaning up. He was. He was showing my brother responsibilities. She was showing my other brother how to be responsible. And I was just going through life as a kid, as a child. Now, us going...
That's from 5 to 9, you say?
Yes, sir.
You learned all this responsibility.
No, I didn't learn nothing. I went by life from 5 to 9 just being played
Oh,
around.
I thought that's what you said. He
My
taught
older
you to
brother.
make your bed. He taught you Who taught you? Who were you referring to when you said I was taught to make my bed and be responsible?
It went in one ear right out the other. I wasn't listening.
Okay.
And my mom...
Why
and
do you
my
think you
father-
weren't listening?
Probably because I was getting molested.
Okay.
And I went through life, and honestly,
Does your mom know?
I've talked to her
What
about
point?
it. I've talked to her about it.
At what point? How
A
old?
few years ago, like 3-4 years ago.
That's the first time you told her?
Yeah. And going back and forth to New Jersey.
Obviously, you didn't want to mention that today?
No, I'm sorry, but it wasn't a few years ago. I just learned of that this year.
You did learn of it recently, and that's all he's saying, is that he held it in until that time. And so put that on top of everything else. That is certainly the biggest trauma he has suffered. And so that's why I'm trying to put all this in perspective. Was it environmental, or is it deserve some other further observation that's going on there, disorder type? And so it's sounding like it's environmental. So I'm hearing something now that almost paints the whole, makes the whole story easy, the whole narrative easier to understand. So that happened to you from age 5 to 9?
Yes, sir. We would get up early in the morning. She would wake me and my brothers up and drop us off at our grandma's house 3-4 o'clock in the morning every day.
Really?
Every morning.
Not with your mom, not living under your mother's roof?
No, she would drop us off to our grandma's
Right.
house.
Because I worked and also went to school.
Okay.
Yep, and
Got
she
it.
would help get them off to school
Okay,
in the morning.
no, I'm with it. And you were able to, after the result, you were able to move out and get out of that situation. So I'm with you. My mother worked midnights.
I know that's right. And I'm not shunning her. I'm tired. I'm tired of holding in stuff. I'm ready to love. I'm just ready because I've been in and out of the streets since I was 14.
Tell me about that.
Honestly, I've been in and out of the streets since 13, 14. A lot of the friends I grew up with were older. I've tried drugs, PCP, marijuana, pills. I started doing crystal meth 2014. I came back to California, started dealing with some people that I shouldn't have dealt with, and I regret dealing with them because now I suffer from addiction. I have an addictive personality. I've always had an addictive personality as a child. Growing up, it wasn't like I was a good kid. I'm not gonna lie. I always used to get suspended from school. Like, me hearing this story doesn't really make sense because I'm gonna tell you honestly, because my grandma she moved into an apartment complex that had a pool. I used to get in fights all the time just so I can hop in that pool.
There's more Judge Mathis after this.
I actually started doing extreme cannabis content a few years ago, just for like the wow factor.
What does the extreme mean?
Extreme just means like I roll big joints. I like to smoke out big crowds. You know what I'm saying? For instance, I'm known as Bobby Z the Legend on Instagram. I got 170,000 followers.
And later,
So I tried to run. He dragged me. He threw me through my window, pulled my hair out, broke my phone, punched me all in the face, and put a knife out on me.
And you didn't call the police that time?
Court is in session at Judge Mathis. If you or a family member are in need of a DNA test, please call us at 1-888-VERDICT.
Is someone suing you and you want to have the case heard on Judge Mathis? If so, call 1-888-VERDICT or visit us online at www.judgemathistv.com.
If you're in juvenile detention center, you're learning worse traits than what you came in there
Slicker and sicker is what they call it.
Absolutely. So, like I said, the judge called me. We did the video call on the phone and everything, and they said they would allow the probation to be transferred back to New Jersey because he did better in New Jersey than he did in California.
Plaintiff Leah Harrison Stanley is here to get help for her son, who admits he's a drug addict and has been abusing meth for 7 years.
Do you feel subconsciously or consciously it was rebelling because you were being both victimized and perhaps you felt somewhere or another neglected?
It's a thought. It's a thought. I'm not gonna put the blame game on anybody because I'm tired. I don't like putting blame on anybody.
You need analysis though.
Yeah.
You need analysis because you're unable to heal until you can understand and analyze what happened. Now, had you concluded that it was a big factor in your rebellion was from you being molested? Had you already concluded that?
Yes, sir.
All right, and had you concluded that the trauma your mother suffered also may have played a role?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you've known that, then I see why you might be tired. I don't know. Tired of thinking about it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Because it's not out of you and you just can't get tired and it go away.
Yeah.
You have to go for counseling if it still plagues you. And they provide that in drug rehab, and hopefully you're going to allow me to send you to rehab to get some help.
I would greatly appreciate it.
All right.
Excellent, excellent. And tell me more, whatever you want to tell me about yourself. Sometimes it's therapeutic for you to tell others and letting others hear it. And it could be helpful to other people. It could be a cautionary tale. Anything else you want to tell these young people that how you got involved in this stuff? Young, older men, I heard that. And I heard the trauma, but what could you have done differently?
Listen to my parents as they were trying to guide me instead of looking at their mistakes and, being combative with what they were trying to tell me instead of, pushing it through one ear and out the other, actually listening and obeying my mother because, things happen.
Well, let me say this so that the young people can understand as well that, in my opinion, all the listening and obeying and desire to obey will have little effect while you're in a culture of molestation. We also want to let people know that they should go to somebody. That's what I wanted to hear you say, that y'all should go to somebody before you get too far down the line so that you can get help or escape the situation. And even if the situation ends, you still need counseling because that's one of the most traumatic things that can happen to a person. You were severely traumatized, whether you know it or not. And that's what folks don't know, whether you know it or not. Things happen to you, it has an effect. When, how, what, who knows? But there's laws of nature, cause, effect. So we're glad to hear you talk like this, and we're going to make sure we help you. That drug treatment is also going to provide counseling, not just treatment for the drug addiction, but counseling to address the trauma that you've had to deal with in your life, all right?
Sir.
That's what, make sure he gets that. I'm going to let you stay on top of that. Don't press him too much. You seem to be a very insightful woman, and that's why you brought him here to me, and I appreciate that. And in the meantime, what he said doesn't amount to emotional distress for you. He suffered all the emotional distress, so I'm going to dismiss your $1 case for emotional distress, and he has agreed as part of this mediation to go to rehab.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you guys.
I'm just grateful that, you're willing to get the help that's being offered to you. It's been a lot of breakdown over the years, you know, and I just want us to build. I want my family back. I want my kids to be whole. Okay, I love you very much.
I love you
and
too.
I know you're an amazing person. Like you're capable of doing this, Lawrence, and I know you can. I know you will.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, just know we're here.
Thank you. Thank you for being the awesome mom that you always been. For you to want to reach out and give me this help, I thank you. I love you.
I love you.
Plaintiff Robert Knapp got picked on for his ADHD as a child, but eventually cannabis saved his life. Robert says the defendant is his friend and he likes to get high and dance on social media. And Robert has proof in court today. He's suing his friend for stolen property. Defendant Michael Rincher admits that he likes to smoke pot, but says it also helps him with his ADHD. Michael insists he never stole anything from Robert and therefore doesn't know.
Start with you.
Well, I had a rough childhood, went through the foster care system in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, tough, Doc.
How
How many years were you in the foster care system?
3-4 years, and I got
From what
lucky.
age?
8 years old. I finally got adopted. I was 6 when I got started in the foster system.
Why, did your parents had some challenges?
They struggled themselves. Yeah, I don't blame them. You know, they had to do what they had to do.
You reconnect with them?
Yes, sir.
Good.
I had a rough childhood, went through the foster care system in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, tough, Doc.
Um,
How many years were you in the foster care system?
3-4 years.
Defendant Michael Rincher is being sued by his friend, who claims Michael likes to get high and dance on social media. And he has the video to prove it.
How was that life? Was it troubled for you in the foster care system?
Hard to trust people, you know. I got picked on at a young age for my ADHD diagnosis, and I found cannabis saved my life.
What age
17 years old.
did you get picked on?
Oh, picked on? Young, like 5-6 years old.
You didn't get violent?
For a minute I did. I kind of like, you know.
I believe, as having read so much about it, that I have ADHD and I learned how to manage it in adulthood.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
about right? Am I right? You can learn how to manage it
Yes,
as in adulthood. So I think that's what happened with me. I know how to manage it, but I still am able to do multiple things at a time because my mind moves around. Mine is on multiple things.
All the time.
And it's hard, right, all the time. So if you can manage those multiple things, you become highly successful, right?
Yep. Cannabis helped me do that.
Cannabis helped, good. Yeah,
Yep.
and that's why I'm an advocate for cannabis.
Right.
And it can calm you down. I did have it, and it did chill me out when I was high off weed as a kid. I didn't want to rob anybody. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to get violent.
Yeah.
All of that, but when I wasn't high, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to fight all the time because of the frustration that you feel when you can't process things as well, or your mind won't stay focused on something that you're addressing with someone. So you get angry
Right.
and frustrated. Your mind is not focused.
Right.
And so I used to get frustrated and angry and lash out. And I see that a lot of kids with attention deficit, untreated, they lash out and go to prison as opposed to counseling and getting the help that they need. So I don't know about minors. No, I don't advocate minors smoking weed at all. I advocate for grown-ups smoking marijuana to deal with a lot of medical condition, and for grown-ups when they want to relax at night, like a person drinks a glass of wine, smoke your joint, and relax and go to sleep. Yeah. So that's my position, folks. And I know some of the older generation, y'all might not like it, but that's modern times. And we've advanced. Science has advanced, and we have to, what Fauci say?
Trust the science.
Follow the science.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, and you're a prime example. You said it has helped you. Good, good. Calmed you down.
I actually started doing extreme cannabis content a few years ago, just for like the wow factor.
What does the extreme mean?
Extreme just means like I roll big joints. I like to smoke out big crowds. You know what I'm saying? For instance, I'm known as Bobby Z the Legend on Instagram. I got 170,000 followers. And I'm known as the nose dab king. I don't know if you know what dabs are. It's flour turned into wax. So it's
yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
I caught somebody with it.
Right on.
Go ahead.
They call me the nose dab king. That's when I really started taking off because my wisdom teeth were removed a couple years ago, and they told me I couldn't smoke through my mouth because the pole would give you a dry socket, I believe. And I wanted, that's how I medicate. I didn't want to take the prescription that they were going to prescribe me. I still wanted to ingest my cannabis. So I was live one day and I was doing a nose dab on the camera because of that, and I couldn't smoke through my mouth. And the people loved it. I actually started going viral because of it, and I've been an advocate for nose dabbing ever since too.
All right, give me some background on yourself.
I smoke a lot of weed.
I know you do.
But like,
I'm not confused.
A lot of my friends, like a lot of people that know me, they know that like it's weird. Like, I smoke a lot, but then I take a lot of breaks too.
A lot is how much?
Probably like 8, 7.
8. You have attention deficit or something?
I have ADHD.
It addresses?
No, I have ADHD, so I don't really like.
Okay, so it's pretty much the same.
I don't take pills and stuff. So like,
all right.
At a young age, I had like Adderall and stuff, and I think how it made me feel. So like throughout the day.
Now hold on. I'm gonna count this up. You know the judge, you know the game. All right, you're awake. What? About 12 hours, about 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
Divide 16 by 8. That's every 2 hours.
Right.
A good weed should last about 4 hours of calmness. You should be calm for about 4 hours. You don't need but 3 joints a day.
Defendant Michael Rincher is being sued by his friend, who claims Michael likes to get high and dance on social media. And he has the video to prove it.
8, you're abusing it. Go ahead.
But no, seriously though, like I do smoke a lot.
What type of troubles, if any, did you have as a child with your attention deficit?
I was raised by my grandparents my whole life, and they did a good job. It's like the anger and stuff, like I'm more caring than anything. So I care about all my people. Like some people look at me like, why don't you get angry? Like we go out in public.
But tell me, what were the consequences of your belief that you have ADHD? Was it diagnosed by a doctor?
It was diagnosed a long time ago.
Were you treated with Adderall or anything?
Yeah, they had me on Adderall and Cetera.
And you stopped when you became an adult and started using weed instead?
Yep.
And that did you better. How old were you when you began Adderall treatment?
I was like 8.
All right. So before age 8, you were kind of disorganized and here and there, and what were you doing by age 8 to determine that you needed treatment?
I was very like active and not listening too much. So like you tell me something, and then I'd be like, they have to have signs in my house that says stop and think, because I would literally have to like stop and think about the consequences before. So I learned consequences like when I was really young.
Do you believe the Adderall was helpful to you, and that otherwise your life you would have been more troubled as a kid?
I feel like the Adderall was more like it just taught me how to like have a little bit of patience.
It was the treatment from age 8 to 18 that kept you sound.
8 through 18 pretty much was Adderall my grandma.
Right. That's and then weed at 18.
Yeah.
All right. So I just want to educate the public, because this is a big problem in society and the stigma that's attached to it. So go right ahead now and tell me how he stole your property.
So I met Michael, I know him as Big Cookie, April 20th, 2020. We were at a smoking golf event, cannabis event related.
A golf?
Yeah, smoking and golf.
That's the whole thing, to smoke weed while you're golfing.
It's a fun time.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So we're out there having a good time. Immediately, I catch his vibe. He's a really good dude. That's what I felt like at the time, And we became friends because of his body positivity. He don't let nothing faze him like that, you know, and that's something I really like about him. And he likes to smoke and get crazy and dance. Your Honor, I brought a video for you guys to see.
I definitely want to see him dance. But how many hits did you? How many followers? Everything is about hits now. Y'all do everything to get hits.
Honestly, like, it was actually a lot. Like, that went crazy on Facebook and stuff.
I know, that's right. All right, stolen property. What did he do?
So, at the late end of the summer, September 5th to be exact, on page 2, I have an invoice from Zorwoods, and I had Zorwoods merchandise. That's marijuana-related merchandise, shirts, hats, rolling trays, so on and so forth. I had purchased them to make money as an investment, and I'm moving. So I asked Cookie 2 days later if I could keep it at his house. Page 5 is the merchandise at Cookie's house. And when I got back a hold of him 3 days after I left it there, he told me that someone had broken in and stolen it. So I don't know if he's jealous of what I got going on for me, you know, that he wants to see me fail or something.
Why wouldn't you believe that someone broke in and stole it?
You know, because he's a really nice guy. Who's going to break into his house and steal from
strangers? What all did they take?
You know.
Well, let me ask him, sir, what happened to his items? He thinks that you took them.
I don't know what Bobby's talking about. How he knows I was at work that day. I come home and I got stuff missing out of my house.
What all did you have missing?
He had his box and stuff that he got from Zorwoods, and he asked me, he was like, can you wash this for me? I was like, okay.
Stop playing, it's more than a box.
Man, Bobby, chill, bro. Chill, because you know how this is going to end.
It's more than a box.
Like I said, Your Honor, I'm sorry about that. Like I said, I had the box at the house in my room locked up. I have 2 doors to the trailer park that we stay at, and I lock both doors. I know I lock everything before I leave. And next thing you know, I come home and the doors are unlocked. Now
he's got 2 dogs.
Quiet, sir.
He's got 2 dogs.
We have people that come over all the time. As Bobby just told you, we are popular. Bobby likes to talk.
How do they get in?
He lets them in. He comes through. He has the keys to the place.
No, I don't got no keys. I don't have any keys.
But he's staying with me though.
Defendant Michael Rincher is being sued by his friend, who claims Michael likes to get high and dance on social media, and he has the video to prove it.
He's stealing his own things?
Yeah, I'm thinking he is, because that's the only way I can think about it. If he says no, he doesn't believe me stealing it, he's
so you're saying nothing was stolen at all. He's just coming here to hustle a judgment off of you.
Because I came home and it's gone. So I'm thinking he already took his stuff and left.
What else was gone?
All I know is my box was gone, but it wasn't even nothing big. It was just something I got custom made, but it wasn't nothing like huge or anything. So I was like, okay. So
you have a television?
I have a huge television. It's just that wasn't gone.
Right.
That's what I told him.
Nothing's.
So only my goods. They came in there and they sourced out my stuff. Really?
That's what I'm getting to. You said somebody broke in.
I told you my doors are unlocked. And when I told him, I said, yo, the doors are unlocked. How the doors stay unlocked?
Oh, the doors to the home were unlocked.
Yes, and so when I said...
And you left them unlocked?
No, I locked everything before I left. Every time I leave my house...
We're talking about when you left, because when you left, the items were there.
He had the key to the spot. He had the key to my spot.
He does, yes. We're talking about the people you believe came in. Now, are you saying you believe he came in?
I believe he came in with other people. And that's what I'm telling you.
And they walked out with a box, while his head was turned.
Yes.
All right. You have no real idea of that being true. This is just something you're speculating happened?
Just like him speculating me taking the stuff and I'm at work. How am I supposed to take it? He knows
Before you go to work.
He knows I was at work. Where am I going to put it at?
In your trunk. There's a million places to put it.
The box is way too
At
big
a
for my
friend's
trunk.
house. You're talking silly to me now.
No.
Judgment for the plaintiff, I believe you. $2,130. Next time, don't talk silly to a judge, and he might believe you. When you start the silly talk, your case is done. Where would I put it?
Thank you, Judge Mathis.
Judgment for the plaintiff.
Time to pay up, Cookie. Can't run from it this time.
That's all right, Bobby.
Stop playing, bro.
Plaintiff Sierra Goss dated the defendant, and she claims he's a serial cheater who physically and verbally abused her. Sierra claims even though she broke up with the defendant, he's continued to stalk her, and she's suing him today for stolen money. Defendant Keenan Fitzgerald insists Sierra is a liar, and he's countersuing her for defamation of character.
Start with you.
Okay, so I've dated Keenan on and off for about 5 years.
Starting when?
I want to say it was May of 2016.
Okay.
Throughout those 5 years, it was not easy. Like, he's been mentally and physically abusive on top of being a serial cheater.
How often?
Very often.
Abuse. How often was the abuse?
Very often. Like, he had thrown me through windows, beat me, punched me in the face, threatened me with weapons. It just was terrible. Stealing from me and my kids all the time.
Did you go to the police any of these times?
In the earlier years, no, I didn't. But within the last 2 years, I have. But it's like he stalks me and he forces himself on me. So, like, he's very manipulative. So I just be so forgiving of him. And he makes me feel guilty about stuff. So I fell for it for a long time.
Did you all break up yet?
Yes.
When?
We've been broken up, like, officially October of 2020, but we were like trying to make it work, so we were still dealing with each other.
When was the last time he assaulted you?
March of 2021.
What happened?
I
Why
was
are you laughing?
I was in my
It's a serious thing.
Cause she lying, but
Yeah, I may have to end this case. Go ahead, I'll let you finish. I'm trying to restrain myself.
sorry, I apologize.
So go ahead.
Okay, so I was laying in my bed. I was watching a movie on my phone. He came through my window, and I guess he must have went through my phone, seen some text messages he didn't like. So I tried to run. He dragged me. He threw me through my window, pulled my hair out, broke my phone, punched me all in the face, and put a knife out on me.
Wow. And you didn't call the police that time?
No, I didn't call the police then.
Defendant Keenan Fitzgerald is being sued by his ex-girlfriend, who claims Keenan stalked her, abused her, and threatened her with a knife.
You told me that you all were together off and on for 5 years and all the stuff about him beating you. We're going to move on from that because he laughed in your face. So we're going to move on. How did he steal your money? Tell me what happened.
Okay, so he came through my window March 19th, 2021, and he was talking about the bills that were due on his house, which had nothing to do with me. He asked for money. I told him no. In the midst of that, I was in the kitchen cooking dinner for me and my kids, and the next thing you know, he was gone. So that night, I reached out to his family. I was calling him, texting him, because I wanted my money back. And that night I had a couple of drinks. I went to sleep drunk. He must have came back through my window, took the rest of my money. And when I woke up that morning, I contacted him. I contacted his family. I even have text messages showing where he's stating, "I'm sorry, I'm gonna get you your money back."
Where's that at?
I believe it's page 17.
17?
Yes.
I give a about you just bad made. I promise on my life I'm getting that back to you. Did you assure her you'd give her the money back?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But
the claim is granted. Yours is dismissed. No defamation.
I couldn't even
Take
say
that.
nothing.
No, you can't. You can laugh at that. How about that? You
I
can
wasn't
laugh
laughing
at
at that.
$5,000. Yeah, walk out like you're supposed to.
Thank
when
you.
you're not beating a woman.
I think it went great. It went faster than I thought, but it went great. Thank you.